Yo, 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 I am Junkie Dave, and this is my entry into Rudy Suzu's stay-at-home convention YouTube type collaborative thing called Blast from the Past, where he wants us to discuss toys from each of the decades that we have been collecting in. That wasn't the smoothest of descriptions of what's going on, but I'm sure you get the idea. Now, I'm very old, and I was born in 1981, so as such, I have had 4 decades worth of collecting slash hoarding slash having toys. 2020, if we start that as a new decade, is technically my 5th decade. Wow, I feel so old right now. So I was racking my brain and trying to think of something that I could link each of those decades to. And the one thing that I could say that I've done in each of those decades is break slash lose slash damage slash ruin toys. So this is my decades of destruction video. I've discussed a few of these on previous videos, I'm probably sure I have, but a lot of those videos, well, all of those videos are gone now, so stick around if you want to see an old man talking about breaking stuff. So if I start off in the 80s, back when I was a little nipper, there's two that really stand out in my mind. And that's what I'm going to discuss. I'm not going to go through everything because, you know, as kids, we all lose and damage and break stuff. This is a Star Wars Return of the Jedi Gamorrean Guard. Now when I was a kid, we did a couple of holidays to Blackpool. For some reason, I decided it would be a really good idea to bury one of these on Blackpool Beach. And I'm pretty sure I intended to go back and dig it up. I didn't want to lose it. I didn't want to leave it there. But when it came time for us to go back to the hotel, I couldn't find it. It was gone. It was lost forever. And I think as such, this Gamorrean Guard figure has always been one of my favourites. He is a lovely, chunky, fat green man. And yeah, don't bury your toys in the sand, kids, because, you know, the beach is big and stuff gets lost. Now, speaking of burying stuff, this is G.I. Joe, or Action Force back when I was a kid, Lifeline. And this is not my original Lifeline, because my original Lifeline is entombed under slabs of concrete in my parents' front garden. I can kind of remember the day I did it vividly. I was sat playing in it, and it wasn't really a garden. It was a small, maybe 9 foot long by 4 foot wide, big plot of earth really, and it was all full of weeds and all that kind of stuff. But I used to play with my action figures in there, and one day Lifeline died in there, so he needed to be buried. I dug up a little tiny grave for him and I buried him in it. Like, why did I bury figures? There's something wrong there. So there he laid in his shallow grave for a few days, maybe a few weeks, and you know, I was only a child, so I wasn't part of my parents' home improvements discussions. So I come home from school one day and there's concrete slabs totally covering what used to be there, including Lifeline. So it's really cool to be reunited with this guy. He is in bad shape. A lot of his red has faded to pink, but without a doubt, he's in better condition than my original one. I would love to take a pickaxe or a pneumatic drill or something really manly like that and dig up my Lifeline to see what he would look like these days. But yeah, I won't be burying this one, that is for certain. So this takes me to the 90s. Hazy memories of collecting, maybe 92 to 95, maybe 3 years. I remember selling all of my WWF Hasbro figures to a guy in a market in Whitley Bay, and buying a Super Nintendo with the money that I made from that, and that was me done with toys for a little bit. I think this is where I was at my most destructive. I would totally mutilate toys. I would cut their arms off and the legs off, and yeah, a bit like that bad lad from Toy Story. I can't remember his name, but I'm sure you know who I mean. But yeah, one massive example I remember of this is on a family caravan holiday to Cornwall. We were taken to a Woolworths in Plymouth. I got Action Man Hall of Fame Duke, and my little brother got Action Man Hall of Fame Cobra Commander. And this was something that I felt I had to replace as an adult yet again. I was given this for Christmas last year by my best friend. This thing is just, it's so cool. Like I really want to get Duke at some point, but even though this wasn't mine as a kid, this is my brother's, this is the one that I really enjoyed. But for some reason, back in the 90s, I cut his hands and his legs off and stuff like that and just like dumped it in the toy box. And the toy box is probably full of like broken stuff. Like, does anybody remember those the Tango dolls, like the orange voodoo Tango dolls that you got by sending off ring pulls from cans of Tango? I would like chop them to bits and just throw them in the toy box. So the toy box was like this weird graveyard of just destruction, just awful. Whoa. I've never actually discussed this with my mother. I remember coming home from school once when I was about 14, 15, and the toy box had been totally emptied and everything had been binned. And I have like low key never ever forgiven my mother for that. But just saying this out loud about all the broken stuff in there, maybe she assumed everything was broken, that I didn't appreciate or wanted anymore, so that's why she got rid of it. I've held that grudge so close to my heart and blamed that moment on my collecting habits to this day. And it might have been something as simple as, these are all broken toys, I'm going to bin them. But because I was never confrontational enough to speak about it with my mum, I've always just resented it and maybe took it in totally out of context. Wow, my entire adult life is just a lie. So yeah, in the 90s, I used to cut stuff up and break stuff, and wow, that is quite a moment of clarity. I think it's time to let that grudge go. Bit of a change in location for this next one, moving on to the 2000s. I think I must have had about like another 3 or 4 year gap where I didn't actually buy anything, and then got like massively heavily into Transformers because of the 2007 movie. And I didn't really collect anything new. I got them all off eBay or boot sales or charity shops, that kind of stuff. And I don't really remember breaking any during this time, but I did amass a lot of broken toys. Now these are all still in the garage, and oh man, I haven't looked at these for so long. And this is such a shame because, I mean, yeah, I'm not really into Energon or the Unicorn Trilogy stuff, but this like Energon Scorponok missing a foot. And there was a weird period where I got loads of other figures missing feet, like Revenge of the Fallen Dead End and like the grey silver repaint of Barricade, all missing feet. Again, not a line I truly enjoy, but Optimal Optimus missing his robot head. Armada Megatron missing all sorts of bits. Nightwatch Movie Prime missing all sorts of bits. I didn't break toys, but broken toys kind of gravitated towards me. And in a way, yeah, I didn't damage any, but they kind of damaged my mental health in an odd way, because I became obsessed with finding junkers of Scorponok just so I could replace the foot, or finding junkers of Dead End or that Optimus Prime. I think the worst one for me was Movie Leader Brawl. I got that for a really good price, but it was missing like the turrets and stuff, and that's never ever found the parts to replace them with. And yeah, so no actual physical damage caused by myself, but the mental damage. Ugh. Like, I am a very obsessive person, and these took me down some really, really bad roads, and yeah. Anyway, back upstairs. Okay, so this brings us now to the 2010s, and while none of this destruction has been intended or done out of malice or anything like that, quite recently I decided that I wanted to do Hasbro custom wrestlers, and it's a shame I don't have any of the corpses of these figures left to show you, because I recently threw them all out. I think having them there was a constant temptation to try and pick this failed attempt at customising back up. I could not customise for shit. I was terrible at it. I ruined so many figures with paint or with modifications. I absolutely destroyed my own thumb. Does that scar show up? I've got a mean ass scar on my thumb there from when I slipped with a crafting knife, and had to get stitches and all sorts. And yeah, so not only did I destroy toys, I destroyed my body. It's only my thumb, it's cool. And I quite like scars, so yeah. But yeah, I went through so many of these figures, and I kind of do have something to show for this. I have this Mannix bootleg wrestler. For years this was fabled as having the Hasbro design Diesel Kevin Nash head, but the actual version of that did pop up recently, so that kind of busted that myth. So who designed this? I have no idea. So I bought one of these with all intended purposes of making a custom Diesel. So I chopped his legs off, tried to put big boss man legs on him, and it's like, nothing fit, and I can't paint, and I'm not crafty in any ways whatsoever. But yeah, I tried for about a year and a half to get these results that I was never going to get, because I don't have the patience, I don't have the skill, and I just destroyed so many wrestling figures. So I felt like buying this one again represents failing and being okay with failing. I kind of think that wrecking and customizing vintage toys, from my standpoint, from like someone who can't do it, is a bit of a travesty, and these things don't deserve to be destroyed by talentless losers like me. So yeah, he's going to stick around as a Dave, stop, just put the paints away, put the knives away, put the green stuff away, you can't do it, and that's cool. And as soon as I accepted that, I was able to move on, and no more toys were damaged in the 2010s by me on purpose. A big one from the 2010s is this guy, Masterpiece Sunstreaker. The damage I did to this figure has kind of made me look at the way I collect Transformers going forward. I mean, right from the start, the price of this really had me on the fence, and I was used to paying 45 quid for a Masterpiece car. 55 at the very most for like the Takara Mall exclusives. But this was what, 85, 90 quid? And I was a bit like, where's that £30 increase coming from? Like, what's so different about this? And of course, it's all like the parts counts and the accessory counts and the engineering and stuff. I don't even know if I can find the part. Like, he has a fake windscreen for his chest. When I transformed this back into a car for the first time, I put a huge stress mark on, where is the windscreen? It's behind there. See, that's the other thing. It's like when you pick up a Generations toy, you can kind of see where the starting point is. And like with these new masterpieces, I'm just like, I don't know where to start with unfolding that backpack at all. I mean, like, am I just dumb? But yeah, probably am. Yeah, the windscreen is under the backpack there, but like, there's a part where the windscreen is attached to the rest of the body, and if you don't have that, I mean, yeah, it's probably my fault for not following the instructions to a T. But as soon as I compressed the windscreen, a massive stress mark popped up in it, and it's so ugly and so unsightly that I don't ever want to see this in car mode again. I don't ever want to hold this again. I hate this thing so much, and I think it just stems from having serious doubts about the price and whether I was going to be happy with the purchase, to getting it and thinking, well, yeah, it's quite pretty, but is it really all that? To transforming it and like ruining the windscreen, I don't know. This is the last official Takara masterpiece I have bought, and you know, I haven't looked at this thing in so long, and it's an incredible looking Sunstreaker. It's absolutely beautiful, but I don't want to play with it, and I don't want to handle it, and I ruined it. Maybe my hands just have destructive oils that want to ruin everything I touch. It would explain a lot. Yeah, even fast forwarding to the present day, I picked this up yesterday from Smith's using Click and Collect, which was an absolutely fantastic shopping experience. There was nobody else in there whatsoever. I didn't have to wander around and hunt for what I wanted. I mean, I wanted the Earthrise RC, but they didn't have them in my local. So I got this instead because I just wanted to physically buy something and not wait 3 weeks for it to be dispatched and all that nonsense. And it's quite cool. Studio Series Soundwave from Dark the Moon. Yesterday I transformed it into a car, and can I see where I broke it? I broke one of the tabs on the arm/car door. It's not a big break whatsoever, but you know, it's 2020. I'm nearly 40, and here I am still breaking toys.